public comment on this issue? Mr. Fenning?
Robert Fenning, 2830 Linden Street. In Mr. Shire's absence, I have two questions to raise. First, since this is a new license being introduced into the municipality, does our ordinance regarding notification govern? Because remember, if you're bringing an application in, the residents have to be notified, yada, yada, yada.
Mr. Spadoni?
I'll have to look.
May I answer that question?
I think everyone was notified.
Yes.
I know neighbors were notified. Mr. Schatz, you may want to answer that, though. And then why Mr. Spadoni?
Yes, notification. There was a notification requirement of neighbors within 500 feet of the proposed location that they be sent a letter. As part of the requirement as well, too, 3 notices had to be hung on the property as well to meet the notification requirement. Both were met. We have a listing of 166 letters that were sent out first-class mail to the residents within the 600, and I think we went as far as 600 feet of the proposed location. The notices were sent. That's an addition and above to the hanging of the placard that if this application were to go to the Liquor Control Board, residents in the neighborhood would have a 30-day window also to contact the Liquor Control Board to raise an objection to the license going in at that location as well too. So actually, we've met the city requirement by sending the letters out. It was done as part of the requirement. In fact, we even sent one to the clerk's office with regard as a response as well too. Also then the placard would have to be hung as part of the requirement from the Liquor Control Board.
Okay, thank you. The last time we had a case where the Cobalt Cafe ignored that, and I just wanted Mr. Shire's absence since he had pushed that to make sure it was done here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Spadoni, any comment on that?
Mr. Schatz, if you would, if you could put that as a letter to the clerk as to that notification, so we'd have that on file, that would be great.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll include a list of the people that we sent the letters to as well.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Mr. Haynes?
Bruce Haynes, 65 West Market Street. First off, I think it's a great project, and I'm a frequenter also of Stefano's. I think it's a great restaurant. I really am here to not talk about what decision you're going to make tonight, but to ask if there's some way that there can be a resolution from council to support the effort of Lisa Buscola to change the law, the liquor control law, so that we can really unbundle this, what I guess I would call an unintended consequence of this barrier between counties as it exists within a city like Bethlehem. I mean, to me, it's an important thing. Economic license is somewhat of a Band-Aid, I guess is the way I would describe it, to something that's bleeding that needs to be fixed. And I would think that the full support of the city of Bethlehem in some way, shape, or form for changing this legislation so that the marketplace can work for liquor licenses within the city, so that those liquor licenses that are within Northampton County, within the city of Bethlehem, can freely move to other areas of the city of Bethlehem, so that you truly have control within the city of Bethlehem of the ability for market licenses to move, and that the marketplace can then determine what the value is for a liquor license. So my question really is there anything that the city of Bethlehem, either the mayor's office or council, can do to help in Lisa Buscola's effort to change the liquor code, to fix this?
Let me answer that, Mr. Haynes. I would say that when Senator Buscola submits to the Senate the proposed amendment to the LCB law, that certainly that information would be provided to members of council. The chair certainly would consider either a letter, if that's the will of council in support of it, or even a resolution. Usually we do letters of support if it's the will of council, rather than resolutions.
Mr. President, as soon as it becomes drafted bill, I'll make sure you get a copy of it, sir.
And I did speak, I think I spoke with Representative Brennan this morning before the swearing in, and he serves, as Mr. Shantz knows, on the House Liquor Control Committee, and they'll be receiving their committee assignments in another 2 weeks, and he feels like he may be on that committee in the next session of the legislature. And he shares the time frame that Mr. Shantz laid out before council.
Okay. Well, I would hope that the majority of council would support this change that is going to be proposed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Moving to the regular meeting, the appropriate resolution is listed on this evening's agenda. If that's the will on council, the public hearing is adjourned. We'll move to item 4, approval of the minutes. The minutes will be available for approval at the January 18th City Council meeting. We will move to courtesy of the floor for public comment on an ordinance or resolution to be voted on this evening by City Council with a 5-minute time limit. Would anyone like to address City Council on an issue that we will be voting on this evening? Mr. Grubb?
Danny Grubb, 2420 Henderson Place. I ask your indulgence at the start of my presentation, but you'll see where I'm heading.
Are you speaking to the chair?
Please. I've been a Green Bay Packer fan for about 50 years. Have seen them play in New York, Buffalo, and Philadelphia stadiums. Have journeyed to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field for several games. Have a number of letters from Hall of Fame quarterback Bart Starr. Own autographed photos of Packer players. Probably know as much about the team's history as any fan living outside the state of Wisconsin. I own all the Packer gear you could imagine, and I'm a shareholder in the Green Bay Packers Incorporated. But don't expect me to get a call to suit up against the Eagles this Sunday. Why? Because I don't have the training, experience, or background to step into that role. What I am qualified for is to be a fan and own shares of the team. The reason I'm bringing this up is City Council is faced with a similar situation with your vote tonight to fill the director's position in Community and Economic Development. You have a recommended candidate who is qualified to be an attorney, an assistant city solicitor, and even the solicitor. And no offense to the current solicitor. He's a likable person, he's friendly. He'll probably attend council meetings a lot more regularly if you vote to confirm his appointment than the prior individual holding that position. And probably most importantly, he's a city resident, which I think is very, very important. If your vote was to appoint him solicitor, I would agree with you showing your support, but it isn't. That's not what your vote is tonight. Despite the PR spin, I am concerned that the assistant city solicitor's training and experience are not in the field or in a related field of community and economic development, and that he has no real management experience to speak of. That should be of particular concern for everyone involved in this decision-making process, because he's been asked to follow someone with very limited management skills. That is bothersome given the diverse range of city functions in this department, employee morale, and the size of the department. This opening was an opportunity to seek diversity in city cabinet level positions. The person holding the economic development deputy director's position, a female, is extremely well qualified. And by pursuing her appointment, this could have been achieved. And unfortunately, was another opportunity wasted. Finally, compensating an individual with very limited experience at a level commensurate with other department heads who have a much wider range of experience and qualifications in their own areas of expertise should be questioned. Just as important, how can anyone justify at this point, based on the recent budget that was passed, a one-year increase in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000, while all other TAMs and non-classified employees are scheduled to receive no step pay increases and only a 1.5% annual increase effective July 1. I guess the end question would be, if you vote yes, will your vote be in the best interest of the community at large? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?